I've spent $13,580 on Whiteout Survival in 99 days, and I think it's safe to say we're kind of like in a little bit of a mid-game slump right now. We can feel things changing in the state a little bit. I think people are dropping off, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But before getting into that, let's get into some of the standard like spending that I'm doing. Let's look at some of the events, and let's talk about, then we'll talk about where we are. All right, so first things first, let's see. If we come into here, we can see I managed to get 4th in Arena of Glory, which it's probably not accurate at this point right now, but because people tend to play after the, that's a little still accurate. This is what I'm dealing with. So it's a stiff competition, let's say. We have all these people with like 17, 18, and all the way up to almost 29 million power that I'm dealing with. So I'm doing the best I can, you know, sniping last minute, doing the best I can. 4th place, you know, by 3 points. Is it 3 points? Oh no, it ended up being a little bit more. This person basically, I don't know why, I must have been at the top of their leaderboard, but like just hit me over and over and over again. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think it was total of like 8 times. Like almost every hit was against me. I don't know what I did to upset them. I hope I was just at the top of their leaderboard or something. But that's what I did in Arena of Glory. And then if we look, you know, I was able to, you know, I don't, you know, care about Brother in Arms or King of Icefield other than the fact that I was able to get my, you know, medals for those rewards. So let's take a look at that quickly, because King of Icefield today is mainly about pets and gathering. So let's see, we've got wild marks and fire crystals. This is all stuff I'm going to save for SVS. So the only thing I want to be able to do if I mean, even speed ups are for SVS, but I'm going to try to basically focus on gathering for the most part and see how many I can get. I have to do the math on this, but hopefully I should be able to get a decent amount of points just from gathering. So what I'm going to do before I forget and while I'm talking, I'm going to turn on the gathering speed buff here for 24 hours, and I'll try to work this as hard as I can. And I'll go in, while I'm recording, I'll go and set out some gathering so that can get underway. So just send these out. Get those going. That way, because this is just time-based. I should have actually done it before the reset, but we had like bear going on, we had other things going on. This isn't like all that competitive, it's just a matter of trying to get the points in, so I wasn't too worried about it, so I hope that works out all right. And I already did my kind of standard grindy missions. Oh, this has only got 43 minutes left, so I'll just send some here as well. Usually I just send my, you know, something that'll give me a good march for those. All right, and I'll just let that sit for now. That'll be that. Grab that. And that's all I'll do for King of Icefield, essentially. But let's take a look at the standard spending first before we get too far into the other events. We've already done a bunch of these, you know, already talked about these, so I'm not going to talk about them again. And I will do the daily deals. I have nothing else to spend today, really, not much. Let me see how many, oh, only 4. I get there and then do these standard claims. So that's all looking good. And then if we look at the deals section, we have Hall of Heroes again. And I certainly don't want to spend any money on Hall of Heroes. I don't really have a reason to be, you know, to be doing much with Hall of Heroes. About the only thing that's in here that's maybe of some value is the widget chest to push widgets a little bit more on like Molly or Geronimo, but I don't feel like it's kind of worth it. But we'll see. Maybe I'll just do the gems at least. But there's no event for the gems. There might be an Alliance Mobilization coming up. Maybe I'll do it for Alliance Mobilization. And then this light, I'll just claim these. I'll finish doing this grind later today. But let's see if I get any luck here. All right, let's see. Hey, that's not bad. Got the 2, and then both of those pretty good. Not so good. And that's really good. So I'll take that. And what I've been doing, I mean, it looks like for the most part, you'll be able to buy out most of the stuff in the shop here. So what I've been doing is just focusing on getting all that I can. And as you can see, it's like I got everything now. It's just down to, you know, getting as much of the training speed ups as I can. You know, they have plenty of them there, probably more than it's possible to get. So I'll just continue grabbing those. And then we'll grab that. All right. And oh, and I think we have a Deadshot. So I have 6 Deadshot tickets, so I can do a 5. Let's see if my luck on Deadshot is better than last time, because last time it was absolutely horrible. And you know what I did last time? It was like, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I hope it doesn't, you know, get me again. But I'm gonna do these 2 in the middle first. Oh my God. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You've got to be kidding me. What are the chances that I get screwed in such an epic way twice in a row with the same exact spots? Somebody do the math on that, because that seems like incredibly bad luck. This game hates me. Deadshot hates me. It's official. Deadshot hates me. All right. I'm gonna move on and pretend that like it didn't happen just like last time, but it did happen. It happened again. All right. So then we have this special offers. You know, I don't want to spend inefficiently. This does look like it's actually a decent value, but as far as, you know, I've been spending a lot of money on these special events, and the design plans, you know, I do have a bunch, but probably not enough. But the chief gear isn't really where the big power comes from anyways. So I am gonna skip on this, because even though it is a pretty good deal, you know, I don't want to keep on spending right now. I'm trying to like slow down the spending a little bit until the next, you know, event that makes it worth it. That's where my efficiency is coming in. So unfortunately, that's kind of like all the spending I'm doing tonight. But let's take a look at where VIP sits. And you know, there'll be other events. They always give you events to spend on, so they'll come. And there's, I'm sitting at like almost 2.2 million. It'll be close, and we'll get to the VIP 12 there soon. So now let's take a look at the event calendar, essentially, because there is something I want to talk about. I do feel like we're in a place in the game that you know, there's a little bit of a lull. I can feel it. I can feel I think there's players dropping off in our state. I can see less activity in our alliance. Less people are actively talking in chat. Now I see why kind of state transfers are an essential part of the game as well. Like there's all this influx of new players, and then it kind of ramps down a little bit. I mean, our state's definitely not dead or anything like that. There's lots of active players still, and even our alliance, lots of active players. But I can definitely sense this atrophy, this slow and steady atrophy. And there's one thing about the game that I have learned, and I think I mentioned this once before. It seems to be that the game developers have done a pretty good job at just about when things start to get a little boring, another mechanic comes in, or new heroes come in, or a new game comes in. And that's one of the things we're seeing right now. So we do have a fishing event coming up on the board. Some of these are kind of standard. We do have the Tundra Trading Station coming up. But we have a Journey Treasures, which we haven't played before. I don't know what that is. We have King of Icefield wrapping up, and Mercenary Prestige kind of wrapping up now. I mean, most of us got through it, so it's just a matter of doing the tanks, and we'll be good there. Then we have, you know, we have this armament competition coming up again, but look at this. We have Canyon Clash on the schedule. And I have done no research on Canyon Clash, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it from more advanced states. So I'm going to have to do a little research on Canyon Clash. Alliance Mobilization, I'll probably skip, because that's just going to suck us dry for state versus state. Then we have Foundry coming up, which Foundry is actually a lot of fun. I hope to record them again, but Foundry's, as I get used to the mechanics of Foundry, it's fun. And I'm sure one of these times we're going to face an opponent that absolutely, you know, spanks us. Happened to me on my low spend state. Like there, you know, we just couldn't beat them, right? Like if you get matched badly, or if you just don't have enough people, like if you know, half your people show up and all their people show up, there's not much you're going to be able to do with Foundry. It just is what it is. So, but this is what we have coming up. And then we did have, I guess, another thing to talk about is just today we had a internal castle battle. And what we did is we just peacefully kind of handed it over. So we handed it over to, you know, the third in power. And actually, I think are they second in power now? Let's check that out quick. Yep, they're second in power now. So that top rank's kind of swapped around a little bit, but that's who's holding the presidency now. So, you know, and I didn't even participate much. No, in this one, I didn't participate at all. In the low spend state, I did go and at least I got some points. But in this one, by the time I woke up, I just told folks, hey, I'm not wasting resources on this just for some charm stuff. So, go ahead, go have at it and have fun. And they just peacefully handed it over for the most part. Just people just did some solo attacks for points and stuff like this, which is what I understand most advanced states do. So that's the other thing that happened today. But as a result, this just has me thinking about like, we're kind of in this mid-game. It feels a little bit like a mid-game slump. Like we're not quite at Gen 3 yet. People are still we still have some people every now and then who don't understand bear joining rules. We still have some people who don't understand, how to like join and swap or do a double rally to take a castle or something like that. So we're trying to help people learn. We're trying to, learn ourselves. I'm still learning the game myself, right? But that's the thing I just wanted to mention. That it does seem like the game. I do definitely feel like I'm in a little bit of a slump right now where there's like not an awful lot to do that's exciting anymore. But especially since I'm doing all the saving for SVS, like I can't be pushing power until the next prep phase comes. So it's nice that they have these other events like the fishing and, snowbusters and all these other little mini games to kind of pass the time and have a little fun in between. And it's nice that they keep on introducing new events like Canyon Clash, but I would imagine even that's going to grow old at some point. I don't know, but Foundry's always fun as long as, you get a decent matchup. So I don't know. I'm curious to know, for those of you who've been playing the game for a while, what are the parts of the game that you feel are like a little bit too much of a grind? And what are the parts of the game that you're really excited about? There's something I mentioned in my long Dawnfest video yesterday. And if you didn't watch it, towards the end of that video, even if you just skip to the end, I did a pity test with the gear while I was waiting for the Dawnfest things to drop. So if you're interested in that, just kind of skip to the end where I do the pity test. I just opened up chest one at a time to see if I opened up 100 chests, would I get a mythic gear? And I did. It got around 80 or so, but that's because I opened up some previously. So I basically think it was the pity that kicked in, and probably not the not just random luck. But you never know. It could have just been random luck as well. So there's that. But I'm just curious about like how you guys feel about the pace of the game and what's exciting to you, and how your state evolves as you go through this stuff. Is it kind of normal to have this kind of like this atrophy of players and then needing to reconsolidate and rejoin states and things like this? At what point do you think it got more fun for you and less fun for you? I'm just curious if you drop me a comment so I can learn a little bit from what you guys have gone through in the game, especially if you've been playing the game for a long time and you still get excited about it and you're still playing it. I want to know what really motivates you and what you enjoy the most about the game. There is one thing that really annoys me, being an East Coast US based person. The time for the castle battle, even though it got a little bit better thanks to daylight savings time, the time is just fixed and ridiculous. I wish they had like time zones. I know that's logistically difficult to do, but I almost wish they had states that were centered around like, at least like, the hemispheres or something like that. At least like, so have people closer together in time so that we had more times that were easier for everybody to participate that weren't ridiculous. I mean, even this time that I'm saying is ridiculous. Imagine if you're Pacific Coast, so West, if you're PST time, 3 hours from me. So like the castle battle this morning was at 8 a.m., which before it was at 7 a.m. So now it's at 8 a.m., which means I'd probably have to get up like at least 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. to be awake enough and participate. But if you're on the West Coast in the U.S., or Canada, like if you're on the West Coast, that's 3 hours before that. Yeah, that's 5 a.m. You're getting up at 5 a.m. for a game. I mean, and then if it goes for a long time because it's not a straightforward like handover, it can if you're like taking the castle back and forth, it can last as long as 6 hours. Oh my God, that is such a grind. I don't know if that's going to be fun for me when I have to get into that. It's really hard to stay focused for like 6 hours of like rallying and defending and healing and communicating with people. Like 6 hours nonstop sounds like it's brutal, So, but I'm curious, do you find that fun? Is that, or is it all the other things that are fun and that's just something like that you have to do? What are the things that really motivate you? What are the things that you really enjoy about the game the most? I'm really curious about. And before I'm done for today, there is one more thing I wanted to do. Somebody asked about, can I show the individual Labyrinth leaderboard? And so let me show that. Let's see, let me show it in my current state. So here's where things stand. This was my overall Labyrinth score that I've shown before. Here is the Land of the Brave. All right. And Cave of Monsters, which I did push the pets a little bit further during last SVS prep. Glowstone Mine. That's where things look there. I look to be quite a bit ahead there. Earth Lab. That's where things are looking like there. Dark Forge. All right. And Gaia Heart. That's what things look like there. So that's the overall Labyrinth leaderboard. Hopefully that was helped, because I know a couple people were curious about that. Now remember, if you want to follow this journey and see how my spending goes, see how my growth as a player goes, see how the growth on the account goes, you got to give me a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That way, whenever I go live or when I post new content, you'll know about it right away. Thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later.